picture a universe where the absolute most terrifying weapon isn't a plasma cannon, or a black hole bomb, or a planet-cracking laser. It's actually something far more unsettling. Pure, absolute, unwavering restraint. Today, we're unpacking a massive sci-fi narrative that totally flips the classic alien invasion trope on its head. It's all about what happens when a galaxy-spanning empire of conquerors looks at humanity's peaceful vibe, mistakes it for weakness, and accidentally wakes up a sleeping giant. We're going to trace this whole narrative arc today to really understand its core theme, which is humanity's terrible kindness. To really get this story, we actually have to start with this ancient, honestly pretty haunting warning. It comes from Paloon, a scholar from a conquered species called the Sulthari. See, the Sulthari keep these massive archives of galactic history, and buried deep in there is a mention of this seemingly unremarkable bipedal species just kind of living quietly on the galactic edge. Paloon points out they didn't expand aggressively, didn't threaten their neighbors. They literally just built their colonies and watched the stars. But the ancient records had this one chilling warning attached. Do not provoke them. And well, as you're about to see, that warning gets completely ignored. Which brings us to Section 1, the hubris of the hegemony. Let's look at the empire that made that fatal mistake. Look at this staggering number right here, 40. That is 40 distinct sentient species that the Draven Hegemony currently holds under its absolute iron grip. The hegemony is this massive empire that spent the last 3 centuries building itself up on literally nothing but fear, total conquest, and the brutal vision of its supreme commander, General Torvin. Torvin has spent his entire life crushing rebellions. To him, the universe is incredibly simple, right? The strong conquer, the weak submit. And it's kind of a classic trap, confusing pure brutality with actual true strength. And this right here illustrates the ultimate dramatic irony of our story. On one side, you've got the Draven Doctrine, aggressive expansion and immediate crushing force. On the flip side, humanity. When Straven scouts stumble upon humans in Sector 97, they just see a species that is entirely civilian-focused. They look at human worlds like New Avalon and see farms, modest cities, civilian cargo ships. General Torvin looks at this peaceful species from Earth and sees literally nothing but weakness. Because in the mind of a conqueror, a lack of warships just screams easy target. So that leads us right into Section 2, activating the longbow.
General Torvin sends a mid-ranking officer, Subcommander Riyus, with a 12-ship scout fleet to deliver a surrender now ultimatum to the human colony of New Avalon. When the humans don't immediately bow down, Riyus follows standard Draven procedure, what they euphemistically call a corrective demonstration. The playbook is precise. Wait exactly 1 day, then absolutely obliterate an uninhabited area to spark pure terror. Riyus dumps a sustained plasma volley onto an empty mountain range, 300 kilometers from any town. In under 2 minutes, 200 square kilometers of rock and snow are just turned into a flat, glowing sheet of black glass. The goal? Utter panic.
But instead of the blind, screaming panic the Draven expect, the human response is this unnervingly brief, calm message from Colonial Governor Linda Marsh. She doesn't beg, she doesn't scream, she simply tells the Draven to kindly reconsider. The alien subcommander actually laughs out loud at this, thinking it's a joke from some primitive species. But down on New Avalon, Governor Marsh is already beaming encrypted data straight to Earth, which takes us to Earth's moon, 6,000 light-years away. Admiral Cole Barrett of the United Earth Naval Command gets the data. He looks at his window at Earth for literally 10 seconds, processes the fact that an alien fleet just glassed a mountain range on a human colony, and just drops these 2 chilling words: activate longbow. With that one incredibly quiet command, the sleeping giant wakes up. Now, humanity's military doctrine is worlds apart from the hegemony's. Admiral Barrett briefs his commanders with these rules of engagement, and they are wild. Do not fire first, contain the enemy if there are no human casualties, offer exactly 1 chance to withdraw. This right here, this is the very foundation of humanity's terrible kindness. Their military isn't built for wanton destruction. It's bound by this terrifyingly strict code of restraint and measured warnings. Think about how this applies to leadership in our own lives. True power usually doesn't lie in what you can destroy, but in your capacity for measured restraint. But make no mistake, that restraint is backed by overwhelming capability. Let's jump straight into Section 3, a surgical response. Subcommander Riyus is basically just chilling in orbit above New Avalon when an invisible fleet of 87 human warships suddenly blinks into existence right on top of him. And the timeline of what happens next is just staggering. In exactly 9 rhythmic, high-octane minutes, the human fleet systematically dismantles the 12 Draven warships. Minute 1, human ships selectively jam all Draven military frequencies. By minute 4, human shields are effortlessly absorbing Draven plasma, while their own weapons perfectly collapse the alien shields. By minute 9, it's completely over. But here is the absolute most important part. The humans don't destroy a single hull, and they don't take a single life. The Draven ships were disabled with careful, measured force, honestly, like a surgeon cutting near a vital organ. After the space battles, human boarding teams sweep the alien vessels like ghosts. They use non-lethal suppression weapons, taking down the Draven crews without causing any permanent damage. When Subcommander Riyus actually tries to shoot a human soldier, the bullets literally just bounce off the human's armor, and the soldier politely asks him to put the gun down before stunning him. The Conquerors are handled effortlessly. They're treated almost like misbehaving toddlers throwing a tantrum. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, we are not amused. So Riyus wakes up perfectly unharmed, strapped to his own command chair. A screen flickers on, and he's face to face with Vice Admiral Norris Sinclair, broadcasting from the Carthage, this massive human dreadnought that completely dwarfs anything that Draven have. And she delivers this incredibly icy, now iconic line, "Tell your general that we are not amused." It is a statement completely devoid of fear or anger. It is just pure, absolute authority. The humans strip Riyus' ship of its weapons, leave it just enough power to limp home, and pack its data drives with a message for General Torvin. And what's fascinating is what that message actually contains. It has the 9-minute battle recordings, right? Proving the humans can dismantle a fleet effortlessly. But the part that really terrifies Torvin are the medical scans. They prove every single Draven prisoner is 100% unharmed. It's a profound lesson in power dynamics, proving you can absolutely obliterate someone, but explicitly choosing not to, that is infinitely more intimidating than just pulling the trigger. It's not mercy, it's a flex of absolute control. Torvin is desperately scrambling to understand this, right? So he sends a 15-ship probing squadron to test the human borders. The ships just vanish off sensors. Hours later, they pop back up. The crews are perfectly unharmed, but every single weapon has been physically removed from the ships and neatly stacked in the cargo holds. And the humans attach the single, mocking little note: "Some assembly required." This brilliant touch of humor introduces something Torvin literally hasn't felt in centuries: pure, paralyzing doubt. He realizes the humans are treating his fearsome military like a complete joke. We are now in the final act, Section 5, the Sinclair Accords. Desperate to keep his fracturing empire from falling apart, because remember, it's held together solely by fear, Torvin gambles everything. He gathers the largest armada the Hegemony has seen in a century, 500 massive warships aimed straight at Earth to force the humans to bend. But when they drop out of slipstream halfway to human space, they find they've been totally anticipated. The humans are already there. Look at this number: 2,114 human warships. They are arranged in perfect concentric defensive shells completely surrounding the 500 Draven ships. The humans outnumber the galaxy's greatest conquerors 4-1 without even breaking a sweat. The president of the United Earth Council, Greg Callahan, opens a channel. He calmly explains that humanity knows all about the Hegemony's 300 years of brutality. He offers Torvin a simple choice: surrender and open diplomatic channels, or fight. Callahan promises that if they fight, the Hegemony will just be the 41st species to learn a hard lesson, except this time they'll be learning it from humanity. Faced with this overwhelming, totally calm ultimatum, and realizing the true, terrifying scale of humanity's hidden might, General Torvin does the unthinkable. He orders his fleet to stand down. He surrenders without firing a single shot. The aftermath of this intervention is a complete galactic paradigm shift. This moment births the Sinclair Accords, literally named after the Vice Admiral who never once had to raise her voice. For 300 years, the Draven Hegemony ruled by fear and absolute subjugation. The Sinclair Accords dismantle that empire piece by piece, replacing it with a galactic cooperative based on self-governance and coexistence. Under the protection of humanity, all 40 conquered species finally stand up and demand their freedom, and the Draven are forced to sit down and listen. We're going to end on this beautiful, really sobering thought from the Siltari scholar Paloon, speaking months after the Empire's collapse. Ultimately, what does this explainer on humanity's terrible kindness actually teach us about the true nature of power? Paloon reminds the galaxy that humans aren't cruel. They aren't conquerors. They literally just want to build their colonies and watch the stars. But, as he warns the galaxy, if you burn their skies, if you frighten their children, and if you mistake their immense restraint for weakness, you will find out very quickly exactly what happens when they decide to stop being kind. It leaves us with a really provocative question. Is the greatest flex of true power not the ability to destroy, but the absolute, unwavering choice not to? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Let that idea of terrible kindness sink in.